And the match was all about Erling Haaland in the end. He was the difference with that solitary goal, giving Manchester City all 3 points. Welcome back inside our studio to round out your Sunday. Stephen Warnock, Robbie Mustoe, Rebecca Lowe. We are going to bring you all the goals from all the games today. But we'll begin by talking, Stephen, about that victory for Manchester City. Maybe not, as Lee Dixon was saying, the City of old, going on to score 3, 4, 5. In the end, it didn't matter, but does it a little bit?
No, because they've got to build confidence. They're not the Manchester City that will beat you in the tunnel. They're not they haven't got that fear factor about them at the moment. So you've got to build that back at some point. Now, how do you build that back up? By getting on runs of winning games, keeping clean sheets, being difficult to play against, and then you'll start to see the best of Manchester City come out. So they're not there yet. The edge in the way there, but it still doesn't look like they're quite the same as they used to be. But when you've got Haaland in the team, you don't have to be at your best. It's just going away from home, making sure you pick up 3 points. And he's just so clinical in front of goal, so you always stand a chance of winning a game. It's all about him.
Yes, but it's more than him, and that's where the problem might lie. Of course, he's a brilliant, brilliant striker. He'll get you a ton of goals, but where are the other goals coming from? And that's my concern, looking at them going forward. Phil Foden, when he's at his best, can get 15+. But they got young wingers in Savinho and Oscar Bob. Marmoush might give you better numbers, but I just, you know, as a bigger picture in terms of winning a title, is there enough goals in different areas of the team, added to the fact of defensively, you know, they've given up quite a few goals. Now, that might get better with their football, that gets better. If they possess well, they give up less chances. I just think Erling Haaland's phenomenal, but the others have got to step in for these other goals.
I think there's a thing that we might be missing here, which is Kevin De Bruyne leaving Manchester City and what he actually achieved at Manchester City and the goals he provided, the assists and the goals he scored. And also Trent Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool. Very similar in the ability to pass a ball and open a game up and change a game in a split second. And you just look at those two teams and think, are they going to realise how much they're going to suffer without them two players? Let's talk about Brentford for a minute. All of a sudden, they are only, what, 3 points above that relegation zone, Robbie. Would you be concerned about them for the rest of the season?
I'm personally not.
Right.
I've seen enough of them. I know how good the squad is. They're an example of a club that buys well consistently. So you looked at the bench today, there's a lot of good players there that maybe feel that they should be playing. So Ouattara's a good signing. Thiago's got goals. Kevin Schade I like. There's plenty of options in midfield. Defensively, there's lots of numbers there. I mean, the manager would be a bit of a concern if he starts getting into a little bit of trouble, but the squad is definitely good enough to stay in the league, yeah.
OK, let's take you back to the Gtech. John Champion, Lee Dixon, with some reflections. The chaps feeling that they're a little over-reliant on Erling Haaland's City, boys.
Well, yes, you could say that, but at the same time, they are still the top scorers in the Premier League, so others have contributed. And I take the point about Foden, 27 goals 2 seasons ago, but there are signs that he's on the way back as well.
Yeah, certainly from a playing point of view, some of the positions he took up today. But I do tend to agree with Robbie. I think he's made a good point. They're very focal on Haaland, and you'd say, well, why wouldn't you be? Because he scores every week. But when that doesn't happen, and today they were, you know, if they're a better, more brave Brentford have had a little go at them in the first half, it could have been a different story. You might say, well, they would have stepped up another level and probably won the game, and that's probably true. But I just feel that they are over-reliant on Haaland, and as the rest of the team has to catch up in some... Doku doesn't look like he's a goal scorer. The wide players, though, Silvino doesn't look as if he's going to score that many goals. So, yeah, I think that in the whole season, that could be a problem.
I mean, they have got Marmoush to come back in, and he does have an eye for goal.
Yeah, that's true. And there's no doubt that they were never going to lose that game today. But there was a time, if you'd have played against a little bit of a better opposition, I think Keith Andrews took the easy way out today. I think he should have... I personally, it's not my job, but I would have had a little go at City in the first half just to test them a little bit. But he chose not to. He chose to sit back. Once the goal goes in, you're kind of under the rule of Man City's passing then, and that's very difficult to get over.
So, as a Brentford season ticket holder, as well as an independent pundit, are you worried?
No, I think they've got enough, but they need to pick up soon. I think obviously their home form is good, away from home not so good, but I think there's worse teams, and I think they will pick up as the season goes on, and they've got some good players on the bench, as Robbie said.
Yeah, OK. Well, it wasn't a great spectacle. You'll have gathered that from some of our comments and from the reaction of the crowd. It was a fairly quiet sort of occasion. Of course, the compensation for Lee is that he's only 200 yards from home, and we've had word already that the butler is ironing his silk smoking jacket, so everything's fine here.
I've got my cravat on anyway, so...
Brilliant, chaps. Thank you so much all week. Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long, and for even more Premier League content from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.